Hey, it's Josh D'Amigo, and welcome to the Influential You podcast. I'm excited to introduce you to the Judge Transactional Personality in this episode, the fifth episode of our five-part series on transactional personalities. The transactional personality known as the Judge is skilled with authority and evidence. Their superpowers are the ability to be skeptical, and they rely on standards, competence, and evidence before they take action. Now, word to the wise, do not be afraid of this transactional personality because they will save you from danger, but only if you learn to listen to their suggestions. Now, their kryptonite is that they may tend to halt transactions with premature evidence or restrictive standards, and they often avoid and dismiss vision and repetition. We'll have a special guest today who's been on our podcast before, and his name is Jeff Miller. Jeff is a partner, financial advisor, and the CFO of Sound Financial Group. He helps his clients design, build, and live a good life by creating a pathway to financial understanding, security, and independence. Jeff is going to tell you more about his worldview as a judge personality and share a deeper understanding of where his transactional personality is an asset and where it may be a liability. Before we begin, this podcast is made possible by Influential You's self-guided program, Thrive. The Thrive program by Influential You is the place to train with other ambitious adults who are working to achieve big aims just like you are. Join the Influential You faculty, alumni, and industry specialists as we study the underlying transactions we need to build a more satisfied life. We want to give you free access to our Thrive program. In fact, we're going to give you 30 days, and you can use the code 30days at checkout for your free 30-day trial. That's 30DAYS, or you can text the word Thrive to 805-262-9008. Once again, text the word Thrive to 805-262-9008, and you can cancel at any time. Now, let's get down to business. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Influential You podcast. I'm Josh D'Amigo, program faculty here at Influential You and your host for this weekly podcast. At Influential You, we teach you how to take charge of your career and amplify your professional influence. Since 2009, we've helped thousands of business owners, executives, and entrepreneurs become more influential, more rewarded, and more you. Now, we all know extroverted people. We all know introverted people. We all know creative people, and we all know analytical people. We also all know people who demonstrate highly varied behavioral characteristics depending on their social environments. So, how does personality apply to a transactional framework? Well, personality in transaction offers a different approach by focusing on how we behave in transactions rather than merely slapping a label on us that we're a certain personality type. This framework acknowledges that we all bring value to our exchanges, and it helps us recognize patterns in our behavior rather than simply defining ourselves by them. Personality and behaving transactionally begins with a focus on how we behave in transactions. It acknowledges the importance and the potential drawbacks of our contributions to human exchanges and enables us to identify patterns in our behavior. Since each personality tends to have a unique role to play, each individual's contribution is vital to the group's overall success. By recognizing and appreciating these differences, we can ensure that the collective team thrives. Today, we'll be discussing the Judge Transactional Personality. And to tell us more about judges, we've got Jeff Miller from Sound Financial Group.
Thanks, Josh. I am a judge. Today we'll talk in depth about the judge worldview, our assets and liabilities, and some strategies you may employ when you find yourself working with a judge. The judge personality tends to be past-based thinkers who love to make up their mind after enough data has been collected and the facts can be sorted. They are fact-based people who are inclined to be skeptical in their thinking. Many people with this transactional worldview take on jobs such as CFOs, human resource professionals, professors, actuaries, financial planners, and management roles. Confrontation and authority are incredible skills for this group, and they can often be prone to analysis paralysis that can freeze progress on their projects. Judges' worldview is one of skepticism. Think of this as the view that offers suspended judgment, systematic doubt, or criticism until facts are known and proven. They hold the view that there are standards or ethics that simply must be upheld and honored by all involved. They may often catch mistakes that others would ignore. If you're a judge, you may be skilled at deconstructing scenarios, meaning that you are often misunderstood by your peers as simply being too negative or too critical. Now, here are some of the assets of the judge. As you heard before, judges tend to be skeptical, past-based thinkers. They tend to be able to recall past situations and inventory evidence to prove their points. They are generally unwilling to act until evidence offers a contrary standard, and they may relive past mistakes over and over and over because they should have known better. They do have a superpower when it comes to confrontation and authority, which allows them to establish standards and produce desired outcomes. They often view the world with critical moods, as if the glass is almost always half empty, and they await evidence to the contrary. Skilled judges can see what is wrong and alert others to the mistakes as well, which is not always a welcome trait. Judges do have some liabilities. They tend to work independently, which is a sort of poverty, and why some great ideas never take off. They may become resigned that things will never be any different, and this resignation or righteousness can cause them to grab their toys and leave when working with others on projects. Finally, they tend to see others as stupid for not being able to see the facts or uphold their standards. Judges are often willing to point out what is wrong, but not move to assess or invent a solution. But as we know, simply being a contrarian doesn't mean that they're always right. Now, here are a few strategies to work with your judges. First, to identify the judge personality, listen for these phrases. You should have, or non-committal phrases like, I'm willing to if. You may sometimes be able to feel a negative mood when you're with a judge, as they're often prone to complaining about things that are off, wrong, or misplaced. When working with judges, remember that they will generally start with no, but don't be afraid of their initial decline. Judge personalities may be saying no, but they really mean maybe, or that you haven't convinced them yet that they need more time to think about the evidence you've shared. Judges are often going to be the ones on your team that show up just in time, may often be perceived as negative, and who can be ignored because most humans don't enjoy constant feedback or criticism. When working with judges, consider giving them the most important and relevant facts up front, and then give them space to find errors and make up their mind. That's all for now about the judge personality. My name is Jeff Miller, and I'm a judge. I'll give it back to Josh D'Amigo for one final word.
Thank you, Jeff. That's all for our podcast today on the judge personality. You can see the show notes to connect with Jeff Miller and talk to him more about the great work he's doing for his clients by visiting Sound Financial Group's website at sfgway.com. My name is Josh D'Amigo, and we'll see you next time on the Influential You podcast.